This video is about a tailor was mocked but a wealthy investor stopped his car. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. In the quiet town of Eldridge, with cobblestone streets whispered tales of love and heartache, there lived a tailor named Samuel. He was a gentle soul, known for his kindness and unparalleled craftsmanship. His small shop, Stitch of Dreams, stood at the corner of Maple Street, where his sunlight danced through the window, illuminating beautifully crafted garments hung with care. Each piece Samuel made was a labor of love, stitched with threads that held stories of hope, of celebration, and sometimes of heartache. Though his work was exquisite, Samuel struggled to make ends meet. Whispers of his financial struggles echoed through the town like the rustle of dry leaves in autumn. Some people scoffed at his dream of creating bespoke clothing for the townsfolk. "Who needs a tailor in this day and age?" they would say, snickering as they passed by. But undeterred by their mockery, Samuel continued to sew. He believed in the transformative power of clothing, how a well-fitted suit could instill confidence or a flowing gown could celebrate the joyous occasion. Despite the challenges he faced, he held on to a flicker of hope, a promise that one day his craft would be recognized. One crisp morning, as Samuel arranged the fabrics in his shop, the door swung open with a jingle, and in walked a young woman named Clara. She wore a simple dress, yet her bright eyes sparkled with ambition. "Good morning, Mr. Samuel, do you remember me?" she exclaimed, a smile lighting up her face. "Of course I do, Clara, you've grown so much since you were my little model for the children's parade," he chuckled, remembering how she twirled in front of the mirror, delighting in the way the fabric flowed. "I came to talk about a project I am working on," Clara said, her voice bubbling with excitement. "I want to launch a fashion line that celebrates individuality and sustainability. I thought of you immediately." Samuel's heart swelled with pride. "That sounds wonderful, Clara, but what can I do to help?" "I need a master tailor to collaborate with me. Your expertise would add depth to my designs," she urged, her passion igniting a spark of hope in Samuel's heart. The thought of working alongside Clara filled him with joy, but doubt crept in. "I don't know, dear. I fear I am not what you need. Times are tough, and I am just an old tailor," he murmured, looking down at his worn hands. "Mr. Samuel, age brings wisdom. Your experience is invaluable," she insisted, her eyes shining with conviction. "Together, we could create something beautiful." Clara's enthusiasm rekindled the flame of hope within him. They discussed ideas for her line, sketches flowing like watercolors across the room. As days turned into weeks, they worked tirelessly, infusing heart into every piece. Samuel shared his knowledge of fabric, cuts, and fit, while Clara brought a fresh perspective, marrying tradition with innovation. Then one fateful afternoon, as they stood outside the shop admiring a new flowing dress, a black luxury car pulled up. The engine put to a stop, and the tinted window rolled down, revealing a man in a tailored suit, his expression inscrutable. "Excuse me," he said, his voice rich and smooth. "Is this the tailor who made that dress?" Samuel felt a rush of both pride and anxiety. "Yes, I did," he replied softly, unsure of the man's intentions. The stranger opened the car door and stepped out. "I am Henry Markham, an investor," he introduced himself, extending his hand. "I've been searching for unique fashion ideas to invest in. What you are doing here is extraordinary." Clara gasped, her hands clasping her chest. "You think so?" Henry nodded, his eyes sparkling with interest. "I'd like to hear more about your project. There is potential here." In that moment, Samuel felt a swell of emotions: fear, excitement, disbelief. Clara's eyes danced with joy, and together they began sharing their vision, pouring out their dreams and aspirations. "I believe in the power of fashion to tell stories," Clara said, her enthusiasm infectious. "It can be a voice for those who feel unheard." Henry listened intently, a smile forming on his lips. "That is exactly what I am looking for, fashion that inspires and uplifts. The world needs more of that." But as the conversation delved deeper into their plans, doubt flickered in Samuel's mind. "But I am just a tailor, and this is a big dream," he stammered, his heart heavy with uncertainty. "Every great venture starts with a single step, Mr. Samuel," Henry reassured him, an unwavering light in his eyes. "Your craftsmanship and Clara's vision could change lives. Let us take that step together." The sun began to dip lower in the sky, enveloping them in a warm glow as they exchanged ideas and aspirations. Samuel felt the weight of his fears lift, replaced by the exhilarating thought that perhaps, just perhaps, they could create something impactful. As days turned to weeks, the collaboration flourished. Henry provided financial support while Samuel and Clara poured their hearts into designing clothes that not only looked beautiful, but also embraced stories of resilience and kindness. Samuel's past struggles began to fade as the dreams of his future took root. But as excitement blossomed, so did the weight of external judgment. Rumors circulated, and a few townsfolk began mocking Samuel again. "Look at that old tailor trying to play dress up with the rich," they laughed, their words slicing through his newfound joy. However, as the mockery echoed in his mind, Samuel found solace in Clara's unwavering support. "They don't know the work we've put into this," she said, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We're not just making clothes, we're weaving hope into fabric." Underneath the laughter, Samuel felt a flicker of strength. He thought of the stories he had stitched into each garment, the lives he had touched. "You're right," he replied, breathing deeply. "We cannot let their words define us." Together, they held on to their shared vision, crafting pieces that spoke of resilience, strength, and beauty. Samuel's heart swelled with pride, for he realized that this venture was not just about clothing, it was about people embracing their true selves. And so, as the days unfolded, the three companions Henry, Clara, and Samuel embarked on a journey filled with challenges, laughter, and tears. Each struggle became a stepping stone toward a dream that shimmered on the horizon, igniting hope in their hearts. With every stitch, Samuel felt the warmth of a brighter future wrapping around him, a promise that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit could not only endure but thrive. And so, their story began, filled with determination and the beauty of resilience. Asterisk to be continued asterisk. As dawn broke over Eldridge, the vibrant hues of orange and pink flooded the sky, casting a warm glow over Stitch of Dreams. Samuel, Clara, and Henry gathered at the shop, their hearts filled with anticipation and a hint of anxiety. Today was the unveiling of their first collection, and with it, a chance to embrace their dream fully. "Do you think people will like it?" Clara asked, her fingers nervously tracing the seams of one of the dresses they had created. "I want them to see what we've poured into it." Samuel smiled, though his heart was a cacophony of emotions. "If they see the love and stories stitched into each piece, they'll understand," he reassured her, his voice steady. "It is not just fabric, it is a narrative." Henry nodded in agreement. "Let us remind them that every garment carries a message, every stitch is a testament to resilience and hope," he added, his enthusiasm fueling their spirits. "Today, we were not just showcasing clothes, we were sharing a vision." As the morning unfolded, townsfolk began to gather outside the shop, their whispers mingling with the gentle rustling of leaves. Samuel felt a knot of apprehension in his stomach, a familiar feeling creeping back in. The same voices that once mocked him stirred in the air. Would they embrace this venture, or would they tear it apart? "Let us not focus on the negativity," Clara urged, sensing his hesitation. "We're creating something beautiful together. We can let fear dim our light." With a deep breath, Samuel steeled himself. "You're right, Clara. We've worked too hard to let doubt overshadow our dreams." He stepped outside, greeted by the curious eyes of the townsfolk. They were a mix of skeptics and supporters, and he reminded himself to seek out those who believed in possibilities. As the door swung open, sunlight streamed into the shop, illuminating the creations. "Welcome. Today, we share a piece of our hearts with you," Samuel said, gesturing for them to step inside. Clara stood beside him, her presence radiating warmth. The first visitors to enter were a group of women, their skepticism palpable. "What makes this line so special?" one woman asked, arms crossed, eyebrows raised. "It is just another fashion collection, isn't it?" Clara stepped forward, her voice steady. "It is more than that. Each piece tells a stories of resilience, individuality, and love. We believe fashion can empower and uplift." Samuel chimed in. "These garments are made with the utmost care and craftsmanship. They carry a legacy of hope that we want to share with all of you." The women exchanged glances, their expressions softening as they took a closer look at the delicate fabrics and intricate designs. Samuel felt a glimmer of hope flicker within him. Perhaps they could open hearts, one stitch at a time. As the day went on, more townsfolk filtered in, their initial skepticism giving way to intrigue. Samuel and Clara shared the stories behind each garment, the inspiration drawn from the struggles of those in their community, the dreams of those who dared to be different. "I love this dress," exclaimed the young girl, her eyes wide with wonder. "It looks like it is from a fairy tale." Samuel chuckled softly, kneeling beside her. "Every dress has a touch of magic. You can create your own story while wearing it." The girl's face lit up, and Samuel felt a surge of joy wash over him, a reminder of why he had persisted despite the odds. As the afternoon sun dipped lower, illuminating the shop in a golden hue, Henry introduced a surprise element. "Everyone, we have a special guest today," he announced, his voice booming with excitement. The mayor of Eldridge has come to support our cause. The townsfolk murmured excitedly, and Samuel's heart raced. The mayor stepped into the shop, a warm smile on his face. I am here to celebrate the spirit of creativity and community, he began, his voice resonating with sincerity. What Samuel, Clara, and Henry have created is a reflection of what makes Eldridge special. People began to clap, and Samuel felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. The mayor continued, fashion is not merely about clothing, it is about connection. This collection embodies our town's resilience and hope. As he spoke, the townsfolk began to show genuine interest. The laughter and smiles echoed within the walls of A Stitch of Dreams, and with each word, Samuel felt his heart swell with pride. Perhaps they were on the brink of something beautiful. But as they neared the end of the day, a familiar voice broke through the warmth. Look at this, the tailor thinks he is a designer now. A man's snide remark pierced the air, and an uncomfortable silence fell over the room. Clara, her brow furrowed, turned to Samuel, who felt the weight of the world pressing down on him once more. Ignore him, he whispered, trying to galvanize his own strength. But Samuel surprised even himself when he took a deep breath and stepped forward. Actually, we're not just playing dress up. We're reweaving stories of hope into every garment, he declared, his voice steady. Every dream deserves to be stitched into reality, no matter how far-fetched it may seem. The man scoffed, but Samuel's resolve only grew stronger. I've been mocked before, and it is never easy, but each stitch carries a piece of my journey, just like every person carries their own story. In the silence that followed, one of the younger townsfolk spoke up, her voice trembling at first. I think it is beautiful that you're resharing your story. My grandmother used to say that every stitch was a part of who we are. Samuel turned to her, heartened by her words. Exactly. We all have a thread to contribute to the fabric of our community. Amidst the mingling crowd, murmurs of agreement grew louder. Samuel's heart swelled as he realized how far they had come. The mockery that had once threatened to extinguish his flicker of hope now transformed into a chorus of support. As the sun set and the first stars began to twinkle in the evening sky, Samuel, Clara, and Henry stood together, watching as the townsfolk engaged with their creations. They were no longer just a tailor, an aspiring designer, and an investor. They had become a tapestry woven together by shared dreams. Days turned into weeks, and the collaboration blossomed further. Fashion shows were organized, showcasing the garments and the stories behind them. A community that had once scoffed began to rally around them, celebrating individuality and resilience. As Clara took center stage during one show, her voice rang out, "We are here to celebrate all the stories that make us who we are. Each of you is a thread in this beautiful tapestry of life." The audience erupted in applause, and Samuel felt tears of joy streaming down his face. That evening, as they basked in the afterglow of their success, Clara turned to Samuel. "You've shown us that the strength of a dream lies not just in its realization, but in the journey we take to achieve it." Henry added, "And in how we lift each other up along the way." Samuel smiled, feeling the weight of the past diminish. "We have created a haven for hope and compassion, but it is our community that has embraced it." With newfound purpose and unwavering resolve, the trio continued to build their dream, threading kindness and resilience into every garment. As they wove their stories into the fabric of Eldridge, they discovered that the beauty of the human spirit lay not just in dreams fulfilled, but in the connections forged through shared struggles. In the heart of Stitch of Dreams, they learned that life's tapestry is never complete without love, compassion, and a steadfast belief in the power of hope. And with every stitch, they embraced the promise that together they could create something extraordinary. Asterisk to be continued asterisk. As the twilight deepened over Eldridge, the atmosphere in Stitch of Dreams crackled with excitement and anticipation. Samuel, Clara, and Henry had just returned from a successful showcase in the city, their first major fashion event. The evening was a blend of exhilaration and exhaustion, yet Samuel felt the thrill of possibility coursing through his veins. Clara was the first to break the silence. "Did you see the way people reacted to the collection? There were tears, Samuel, actual tears." Her eyes sparkled with the fire of passion, and Samuel couldn't help but grin. "Yes, Clara, it was incredible," he responded, his voice warm with pride. "Your vision truly resonated with them. You've breathed new life into this old shop." Henry, leaning against the counter with a satisfied smile, chimed in. "And it is just the beginning. We're regaining traction, and I think we can expand our reach even further." Samuel's heart swelled at the camaraderie they had built, but a faint shadow crossed his mind. "But what about the naysayers? It is not just about the applause. We've still got folks in the town who think we're foolish." Clara stepped closer, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. You've faced so much negativity before, Samuel. Remember how you stood up at the showcase. That courage is what they need to see. You're inspiring them. With a hearty chuckle, Henry added, exactly, those whispers of doubt will always linger, but we have to focus on the voices that uplift us. Besides, the more we succeed, the quieter they will become. Samuel nodded, feeling a flicker of hope ignite within him. You were right, we can let negativity define our journey. The following week saw a stitch of dreams blossom into a hub of creativity and community spirit. Samuel and Clara worked tirelessly, developing new lines that highlighted the stories of Eldridge, the everyday heroes, the unsung artists, the students dreaming big, and the families overcoming challenges. Each piece of clothing was imbued with the essence of those narratives, a reflection of their resilience. One evening, while Samuel adjusted the hem of a vibrant dress, Clara rushed in, visibly shaken. Mr. Samuel, you won't believe it. What has happened? He asked, concern washing over him. Mrs. Thompson from the bakery just told me that the community center is hosting a charity event next month. They want us to be a part of it. Samuel's heart raced. A charity event? What do they want from us? Clara beamed. They want us to showcase our collection and donate a portion of the sales to support local families in need. It is a chance to give back. A wave of emotion washed over Samuel, and he felt his chest swell with pride. That is incredible, Clara. We must participate, he replied, determination shining in his eyes. As they began to prepare for the event, the trio faced their own challenges. Clara's excitement occasionally turned into anxiety, fearing whether the collection would truly resonate with the community. What if they don't love it as much as we do? She confided one evening, her voice laced with vulnerability. Clara, Samuel said gently, art is subjective. What matters is the heart behind it. We've poured our souls into every stitch. That authenticity is what will speak. Henry added, and remember, this is about more than sales. We're resharing our vision for connection and hope. That is powerful. As the charity event approached, the trio worked late into the night, their spirits buoyed by the dream of making a difference. But as the day drew closer, Samuel noticed Clara becoming increasingly withdrawn. One evening, he found her sitting on a stool, staring blankly at the fabric. Clara, what is troubling you? He asked, concern etching his features. I don't know, Mr. Samuel. I thought I could handle it, but I am scared. What if we don't bring in enough money? What if the town doesn't care enough to support us? Samuel knelt beside her, his heart aching at her vulnerability. It is okay to feel scared. We're doing something that matters, and it is natural to worry, but remember what we've accomplished together. The essence of our work is love, and that can't be measured by money. Clara nodded, a tear slipping down her cheek. You always know what to say. Because I believe in you, Clara, and I believe in what we're doing together. We're reweaving stories of resilience, and that will never go unnoticed. With renewed determination, Clara wiped her tears and smiled. You were right. We're recreating something beautiful. On the day of the event, the community center buzzed with excitement. Tables were adorned with colorful displays of their garments, and the air was filled with laughter and chatter as townsfolk gathered in support. Samuel's heart raced as he observed the vibrant community he had once felt distant from. Clara took a deep breath and stepped up to the microphone. Thank you all for being here. Today is about more than fashion. It is about celebrating the stories that unite us. We're proud to share our collection, inspired by the resilience of our town. As people began to browse, Samuel felt the warmth of their support. He engaged with the townsfolk, sharing the stories behind each garment. This dress was inspired by a single mother who worked 3 jobs to provide for her children. Every stitch carries a string. Wow, I love it, one woman exclaimed, holding the dress against her. Does it come in a larger size? The girl asked, her eyes shimmering with excitement. Samuel smiled, recognizing the beauty of the moment. Of course, we can make it work for you. Every shape deserves to shine. As the day unfolded, laughter and joy filled the air. Clara's confidence grew as she interacted with the attendees, sharing her vision and connecting with others. Samuel felt a profound sense of fulfillment washing over him. Perhaps this was what he had longed for, a sense of belonging and purpose. But just as he was reveling in the camaraderie, the familiar voice of ridicule cut through the atmosphere. Look at this, what a joke, the tailor thinks he is a designer. Samuel turned to see the same man who had mocked him before. He felt a familiar pang in his heart, but chose a different approach this time. Yes, we're redesigning clothes that tell stories. Would you like to hear one? The man scoffed, but before he could retort, a little boy stepped forward. I think it is cool, he shouted. My mom said your clothes are special because they tell good stories. The townsfolk around him began to murmur in agreement, countering the negativity with a wave of support. Samuel felt a swell of gratitude for the community that had embraced him. "Each garment is a thread in the fabric of our lives," he said, his voice steady and filled with conviction. "We're not just making clothes, we're reweaving hope, resilience, and love into every stitch." As the event continued, Samuel's heart soared with pride. The townsfolk began to share their own stories, voices rising in unison. They celebrated not just the garments, but the spirit of perseverance that connected them all. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the community, Clara turned to Samuel and Henry, her eyes glistening. "This is what we dreamed of. We're making a difference." "Yes, we are," Henry agreed, a broad smile spreading across his face. "And it's only the beginning." Samuel surveyed the scene, filled with gratitude. "We've built something beautiful here, and it's all because we dared to dream together. We've woven a tapestry of hope." As the evening wound down, Samuel felt a sense of fulfillment deeper than any success he had previously known. This was about more than fashion, it was about connection and the power of community. They packed up the unsold garments, but Samuel knew this was just the start of their journey. "Let us keep pushing forward," he said, his voice resolute. "Let us make this our mission, spreading kindness, celebrating stories, and inspiring others to embrace their own journeys." Clara nodded, her heart full. "I am in. Together, we can continue to weave hope into the fabric of our lives." Henry grinned. "Let us make Eldridge a symbol of resilience and compassion. Our town deserves it." And so, they stepped into the night hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next. With each stitch, they embraced the promise that the beauty of the human spirit lay in its strength, resilience, and unwavering hope for a brighter tomorrow. As the cool breeze swept through Eldridge, bringing with it the scent of blooming flowers and fresh beginnings, Samuel stood at the entrance of Stitch of Dreams with Clara and Henry. The evening after the charity event had left them buzzing with energy, excitement, and newfound aspiration. Samuel gazed out at the town he had once felt so distant from, his heart swelling with gratitude for the connections they had forged. "Let us take a moment to breathe," Clara suggested, her fingers gently brushing the fabric of a garment she had designed. "We've done something special, and it is important we acknowledge it." Samuel nodded, appreciating her sentiment. "It is easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of it all," he agreed, taking a deep breath. "But the most important thing is that we've created something meaningful together." Henry leaned against the wall, arms crossed, a thoughtful look on his face. "This feeling of unity, it is what we've been striving for. Fashion has the power to connect us, to share our stories." But despite the warmth of the moment, a worry lingered in Samuel's heart. "What if it doesn't last?" he asked, vulnerability creeping into his voice. "What if we were just a passing trend?" Clara stepped closer, determination etched on her face. "That is why we have to keep pushing forward. We need to engage the community, keep them involved. We can't let this spark die out." Samuel felt a flicker of hope igniting. "You're right. We can organize workshops, invite people to share their stories. We can create a space where everyone feels valued." NAS eyes lit up. "And we can involve local talent, artists, musicians, anyone with a story to tell. Let us create events that celebrate our town's spirit." "Yes, sir," Clara exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. "We can host a storytelling night where people share their journeys while we showcase our garments inspired by their experiences." With their minds alight with ideas, they began brainstorming logistics. Days turned into weeks, and Stitch of Dreams transformed into a vibrant hub of creativity. Samuel, Clara, and Henry worked tirelessly alongside artists and storytellers, weaving together the many narratives of Eldridge. As the first storytelling night approached, excitement buzzed in the air. Samuel prepared the shop, hanging twinkling lights that cast a warm glow over the fabrics arranged around the room. Clara had designed a special collection for the event, each piece inspired by the stories they had gathered from the townsfolk. On the night of the event, the atmosphere was electric. The community gathered, voices mingling in a beautiful symphony. Samuel took a moment to observe the diverse crowd, faces of all ages filled with anticipation, eager to share their stories and experiences. "Thank you all for coming tonight," Clara said as she stepped onto the small platform set up near the back of the shop. Her voice trembled slightly, but her determination shone through. "This evening is about celebrating our shared journeys and the resilience that unites us all." She gestured towards Samuel, who stood beside her, a gentle smile illuminating his features. "Each piece you see tonight carries a story. These are not just garments, they embody the spirit of our community." As Clara introduced the first storyteller, a woman who had overcome tremendous adversity, Samuel felt a mix of emotions wash over him. Listening to her recount her struggles and triumphs, he was reminded of his own journey, the battles fought in silence, the moments of doubt. Yet, here they all were together, celebrating resilience in its purest form. As the night continued, various voices filled the room with stories of courage, hope, and healing. Each narrative added depth to the fabric of their community, illustrating the beauty of human connection. Samuel's heart swelled with pride as he witnessed how these stories resonated with others. Laughter and tears flowed freely, binding them together in shared understanding. After the last storyteller stepped down, the crowd buzzed with conversation as they admired the garments on display. This dress represents the courage of a single mother who raised 3 children alone, Samuel shared with a group of onlookers, gesturing toward a stunning gown adorned with vibrant colors reminiscent of dawn breaking over the horizon. "I love how every piece has a story behind it," one woman exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "It makes me feel connected to something bigger." Clara overheard their conversation and stepped in, her excitement palpable. "That's exactly the idea. We want everyone to feel they belong and that their story matters." As the evening wound down, Clara approached Samuel, her eyes shining. "This was incredible. Look at how the community embraced it." "Yes, Clara, we recreated something beautiful together," Samuel replied, his heart swelling with gratitude. "But I think we should keep this momentum going." "You're right," Henry chimed in as he joined them, the glimmer of enthusiasm evident in his voice. "Let us plan monthly events, fashion showcases, storytelling nights, workshops. We can invite other local artisans to join us." "Absolutely," Clara agreed. "We can feature different themes each month, focusing on different aspects of resilience and hope." As they stood together, dreaming up plans for the future, Samuel felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. They hadn't just created a brand, they had fostered a community, a tapestry woven from the threads of shared stories, laughter, and love. However, as their endeavors grew, so too did the whispers of dissent. Samuel couldn't escape the occasional taunts from those who had once mocked him, their voices slipping through the cracks of his newfound hope. "What makes them think they can change anything?" he heard one man say, accompanied by laughter from his companions. But this time, Samuel found strength in the support of Clara and Henry. "We can't let the negativity overshadow what we're rebuilding," Clara reminded him one evening as they prepared for another event. "You've faced doubts before, Samuel. You stood strong at the last showcase," Henry said, his voice steady and reassuring. "We were doing something important, and it is making a difference." Samuel nodded slowly, taking in their words. "You both are right. Every time we face negativity, we can choose to respond with hope and positivity. We're recreating change, one stitch at a time." With renewed resolve, they pressed on, embracing the challenges that lay ahead. Clara led workshops, empowering others to express their creativity, while Samuel nurtured budding artisans, sharing his expertise with those willing to learn. Henry worked tirelessly behind the scenes, securing community partnerships and expanding their reach. Months passed, and their efforts bore fruit. The storytelling nights became a beloved tradition in Eldridge, attracting townsfolk from neighboring communities. Samuel and Clara's fashion line gained recognition, not just for its elegant designs, but for its heart, a true reflection of the stories it represented. Yet, just when things felt stable, a storm brewed on the horizon. Clara arrived at the shop one day, her face clouded with concern. "Samuel, we need to talk," she said, her voice low. "What is it, dear?" Samuel asked, sensing the weight of her words. "There is a potential investor interested in our brand, but he doesn't align with our values," she confessed, her hands trembling slightly. "He wants us to mass-produce our garments, stripping away the heart of what we've rebuilt." Samuel's heart sank. "But that is not who we are," he replied, his voice filled with anguish. "Our mission is about connectedness and stories, not just profit." "I know," Clara said softly, tears brimming in her eyes. "But if we don't accept his investment, we risk losing everything we've worked for." Samuel's mind raced, torn between the fear of losing their dream and the integrity they had fought so hard to maintain. "We could explore other funding options, perhaps a crowdfunding campaign or local partnerships," he suggested, his voice steady but uncertain. With determination etched on her face, Clara nodded. "We can do this together. We've rebuilt a community around hope. Let us rally them to support our vision." And so, with their hearts aligned, Samuel, Clara, and Henry crafted a plan for a crowdfunding campaign that emphasized their mission of storytelling and community. They reached out to the very people whose lives have been touched by their work, sharing their vision and encouraging them to invest in something greater than just a fashion line. As the campaign launched, Samuel watched the community come alive in ways he had never imagined. Townsfolk rallied around them, sharing their stories and spreading the word. donations poured in, and with each contribution, Samuel felt a renewed sense of hope, a reminder that they were not alone. Weeks passed, and the campaign surpassed their expectations, allowing them to secure the necessary funds while staying true to their original vision. Samuel's heart swelled with gratitude for the community that had embraced them. On the final day of the campaign, Samuel stood before the crowd gathered at Stitch of Dreams. "Today, we celebrate not just our success, but the resilience of our community," he began, his voice steady. "You all have shown us that together we can weave a brighter future." As the crowd erupted in applause, Clara stepped forward. "Thank you for believing in us. Each of you is a part of this journey, and we promise to honor that by continuing to share our stories and uplift one another." With renewed strength and determination, they continued their mission, crafting a brand that not only celebrated fashion but also the beauty of human connection. The challenges they faced were many, but with each hurdle overcame, they only grew stronger, fueled by the unwavering support of